Let's get started with this question that's coming from Sachin. Now, Sachin wants to know the procedure of closing a loan account if he happens to sell his property within 1 year of purchasing it. Now, he says that he took a loan of 38 lakh rupees for a 48 lakh rupee property and he wants to sell that property within a year and he wants to close the loan now. How do you suggest he goes about it?
Right. So actually, one of the things it depends on is whether the buyer is going to pay for the house from his or her own funds, or is it going to be paid for by a loan again. I think in the former case where the buyer has her own funds to pay for it, it's going to be a lot easier. As step one, Sachin should provide the photocopies of the documents of the home documents to the buyer, so that they can inspect it and convince themselves that everything is in order. After that, Sachin would approach his bank, inform them that he intends to close the loan, and ask them for a statement of the outstanding balance. Now the bank provides this and also gives a date by which the payment is to be made. The buyer would then make the bank payment first, so that the bank loan is closed. Thereafter, the bank would release the original documents and give a no dues certificate to Sachin. And after that, the buyer and Sachin can transact the remaining part of the deal and complete the registration formalities. In case the buyer also needs a loan, then the best option for Sachin and the buyer is for the buyer to take a loan from the same bank, because that will help in terms of the documentation and the approval process. The bank would, of course, verify the repayment capacity of the buyer and sanction the loan. That would qualify as a fresh loan. It would not be a transfer of this loan. It would qualify as a fresh loan, and whatever charges need to be paid for that need to be done. Thereafter, the process remains the same as the first case, where the new bank or the same bank approves the new loan and first pays off the old loan, gets the documents, and then the rest of the transaction gets completed.
Right. So it's quite a straightforward procedure over there, Sachin. But having said that, Ram, what would you say? Selling a property within a year of buying it, or a year after buying it, how prudent is that really? And also, if you could just break down, obviously there are taxes that you need to pay if you get into transactions like this. Could you just break down the burden that it entails for the buyer, for the homeowner over here, if you end up selling the property a year within buying it?
Right. So in case of property, whether it's a house or a plot or whatever it is, anything less than 3 years qualifies as short term, and hence there are the tax rates are much higher. The capital gains tax rates are much higher for the short term. So in this case, since he's selling within a year, this would qualify as short-term capital gains. So whatever is the capital gains that Sachin makes from this sale will be added to his income for that year. So let's assume that Sachin is paying tax, at the rate of 30%, at the marginal rate of 30%. This income would also be taxed at 30%. So that's quite a severe rate of tax to pay. And further, there are no set-offs available. So in case of short-term capital gains, you can't set off this by buying another property or by investing in capital gains bonds. You can't do any of that.
So essentially what you're saying is, say Sachin earns 10 lakhs from selling this 10 lakh rupees extra over what he bought the property at. Say he bought it at 80, like he says he bought it at 48 lakh rupees and he manages to sell it at say 58 lakh rupees. So the gain that he's making essentially is 10 lakh. So he needs to pay 30% tax on this 10 lakh rupees plus whatever other income tax he would be liable to pay.
That's right. So Sachin would end up with an income tax liability of 3 lakh plus a little bit of cess, 3% cess on top of that, just on the sale of this property. And there is no way that he can set off this by any other action. So
that's something, Sachin, you essentially need to keep in mind. Of course, you would have your own compulsions for selling a property within 1 year of buying it. But it would do well for you to actually take a call based on the costs and the benefits of actually selling it that fast.
You can watch live TV on our website, mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.